Do you believe in little grey men? Do you believe in UFOs? This is Aliens and Stuff. So, gentlemen, episode 2. Lots happened since the first episode.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Lots to talk about. Hairstyles have changed, as you can see. Spencer looks very different to the last show, but that's important.
Where's the moustache gone, Spence?
Where's it gone?
The YMCA group that I was part of broke up. So.
Oh, that's a shame.
Sorry.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Damn it. No Magnum PI side work for you then, by the sound of things.
None of it.
Maybe good Freddie Mercury.
So, for episode 2, Spencer, what we got?
So, what we're going to be talking about today are the recently declassified Navy videos that have very recently come out earlier this year.
Interesting. So, guys, we've all seen this, so we're going to discuss it later in the show, and then we're going to decide whether we think it's obviously normal, paranormal, or whether we're undecided. So, what's first impressions? Spencer?
Ooh, I'm undecided.
Okay.
I'm undecided.
Fair
I'll see what you have to say.
Tom?
I'm going paranormal for this one. For a minute. Until we discuss it further, I'm on the paranormals page.
I've seen it, and we'll see the videos in a minute. I think it's paranormal as well. Ooh. So, Spencer, tell us a bit more.
Right, so we've actually got the videos which we can play on screen. So there's 3 videos. The initial one should be coming up now. This was taken in 2004, showing an object there detected by the US Navy.
So weird, isn't it?
Dodging the, there we go. Took him a little effort to zone in.
You get locked in, doesn't it?
That looks pretty incredible, to be fair, doesn't it? You can't see what that is at all. The speed that thing's going at as well.
Yeah, having trouble locking onto it. Now, I mean, with that one, that's 2004. So the Navy pilot who recorded that, there's no sound, unfortunately, but he said that it was not behaving by the normal laws of physics. And you saw on there that they were really, really struggling to latch onto it on the camera. And there was another 2 videos, both from 2015, which were taken during training flights. So if we can bring those up, these have got audio.
Dude, this is on, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
It's just an odd shape, isn't it?
That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. That is an LNS, dude. Well, if there's like another thing, it's rotating.
And then we've got the third one as well, haven't we? Which is also
Also
got audio
2015.
as well. And that's 2015 as well, yeah?
Yeah, also
Wow.
2015.
Look at that.
Look, over the water as well.
Speed of it, there we
You
go.
get so excited when they ping it as well.
Nickel 6-1 Tango, Roger, oh, got it! Woohoo! Roger, there's troubleshooting as soon as I get... Did you box moving target? No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at that.
Right, so, I mean, you can hear how excited they are when they manage to latch onto that.
It's not normal.
It's incredible. So the first video that we just saw then, you know, they said a whole fleet of them going against the wind, 120 knots. So that's flying against 138 miles per hour wind.
That's crazy.
That's insane. And then on the second one, you saw that they struggled to get a lock on it. You saw how excited they were, they managed to. Now, these videos, all 3 of them, 2 of them were leaked to the New York Times in 2017.
3 years ago, not long ago then
No,
at all.
not long ago at all. One of them was actually leaked by to the Stars Academy of Arts and Sciences, which is an organisation co-founded by former Blink-182 singer Tom DeLonge.
Tom DeLonge, really?
Yes, yeah. So we've seen a bit of. But anyway, after this came out in 2017, there's a lot of speculation going on. People don't know if it's real or not. The Department for Defence released a statement to clear up any misconceptions
Why would they do that then? Here we go.
Well,
this
it was
would be interesting.
They just wanted. I think there's a lot of speculation as to whether it was real or not.
Yeah,
so they
sure.
came out and said it is real footage, but the aerial phenomenon is unidentified. So they don't know what it is, allegedly. That being said, the Pentagon did release a statement afterwards saying that the footage does not reveal any sensitive capabilities or systems. So there's nothing in the video.
Well, this is the thing. This makes me think then that if the Pentagon have said no sensitive capabilities, that makes me think it's an inside job. It's a government experiment. That's what makes me think it's a black ops government thing. Because sensitive capabilities, okay.
But they say it shows no sensitive capabilities.
Yeah, that's what I mean. From themselves. If you think about it,
what they're saying is there's nothing on that video footage which is that incredible. There's nothing on there which couldn't be done. But then you listen to the reaction of people,
and the speed that one of them was going over the water and how low it was as well. There's nothing.
Bear in mind, this was shot like 10 years ago. A lot of them, wasn't it?
There's 2004 and 2015.
Yeah, and they do look like slightly different variations of the same thing. But like that in that second video where you see it and they track it and it as it's moving, it tumbles.
Yeah, it spins.
Yeah, it spins.
Yeah,
which is, I mean, that just doesn't make sense.
Well, I'm actually going to come on to that later, but I've got a theory behind this.
Fair enough.
I've actually got a theory.
Fair enough.
Spencer's always got tricks.
But talking of theories, we've got a little bit of footage from Sky News where a former NASA astronaut, Leroy Chow, was interviewed. And if we can play that would be really, really good.
This is interesting, actually.
These objects are probably some kind of secret military program, and what these pilots saw were real. They saw them, and they filmed and photographed them. And the Pentagon, I'm assuming, declassified them because there was a lot of speculation going out there. They had already been leaked, so why not come out and say, okay, these films are genuine, they do exist, but we don't know what they are.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
So Leroy, former NASA astronaut, thinks that it's a secret government operation.
He assumes.
Yeah, that's what he thinks.
Yeah, he assumes this is what he thinks.
Yeah, but this is a man with some insider knowledge into...
He's not going to come out and go, it's aliens, is it?
I mean, he might.
He's an astronaut. You might have seen them.
Plenty of former pilots.
Yeah, he's not going to. Because that. Yeah.
He's not going to say
if he's ever hoping for another flight or something.
Because this has only come out, hasn't it? This has only come out really during the pandemic.
Yeah, this came out. This came out a couple of months ago.
Yeah. You've got a theory about this, Tom, haven't you?
Well, yeah, but I mean, you look at obviously the footage. It was released 3 odd years ago, and now they've come out during COVID-19, during a global pandemic, and said, yeah, the footage is real. They didn't have to do that, right? There's people that believed they didn't believe it beforehand, but now they're turning around and saying, yes, this is real, and actually we don't know what it is. Now that's a pretty unbelievable thing for a nation, the most powerful nation in the world, determined to say, yeah, there was something flying out there, and we don't know what it was.
The interesting
That's effectively what they've said.
Is they've done it during the pandemic, which would normally be front page news on every news outlet in the world.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I think if you are trying to do some sort of like disclosure type of thing, you would, and you had something like this, which was already out in the public domain, and you think, okay, well, let's turn around and say, yes, it is real.
Yeah.
Don't turn around and say it's aliens. Don't turn around and say it's secret, government project or whatever. Let's see, how the general public handle it. And actually, it came out. People went, "Oh, that's cool." A couple of days later, gone. Only people that are actually interested in it did it remain. But it was on Sky News's website. It was on BBC. It wasn't like on a back end paper. No. This was everywhere.
No, I think one of the things that I found really, really interesting about this was they're sort of slowly moving away from unidentified flying object. So UFO, so they're now UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Yeah.
Now,
That's just marketing though, isn't it?
Well, I think they're trying to make it more serious. I think UFO's got a stigma attached to it.
Absolutely, UFOs is like, woo.
But I mean, what I found remarkable is that, so they found out that there was the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or AATIP, which ran from 2007, okay? And that ran for 5 years, allegedly, spent $22 million.
Oh, just a little bit of money.
It wasn't a classified project, but it was unpublicized. And they only came out publicly with it in 2017.
Because a lot of the time they said they don't study these things.
Well, and this is my point. So we know that there was one organization that was unpublicized that did that. They've now said that they formed the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, UAPTF. The Department of Defense said that the previous one ended in 2020, and this new one has just come out in 2012, and this new one has just come out in 2020 in response, probably, to the leak of the videos. But that leaves an 8-year gap.
Well, the thing is, why have a task force, a group, to study these things if it's not even the slightest possibility that they exist?
Well, what I don't understand is why they definitely had an organisation. Now they're saying they've got a new organisation, but they didn't have one for 8 years between.
Yeah, that's
Why would you?
But they always denied. But like, if you go back before 2012, they always turned around and said that they didn't study these things anyway.
It's
I
nonsense.
bet you go 10 years from now, and there'll be another set of leaked documents, whatever's come out from that time period when they didn't have a program.
So my point around this is, it's been well documented. So back in 2018, the Pentagon let in 1,200 accountants and analysts and auditors to look over the accounts of the defence budget for the whole of the US. It's worth something like, I think it's 2.17 trillion in assets, right? That's a colossal amount of money.
Yeah.
It's bigger than our economy in the UK. It's colossal, and that's just the defence budget. Out of the 7 strands that are publicised, so the Army, the Navy, all this sort of stuff, there was only 2 departments that actually passed the audit. That was the pension pot, and then the Army.
It was the engineering department.
The engineering corps, which she easily audited, both of them. The rest failed. My point being, I think there's a lot of money which is well publicised, which is completely unaccounted for.
They lost 5 Black Hawk helicopters.
39. They lost
39
Black Hawk helicopters somewhere on the planet. They don't know where they are. So the fact that they can do that shows me that they can easily leak money into black ops projects.
True.
They don't have to answer to anybody, really, do they?
Studying aliens, UFOs, or whatever now they call them for their own marketing benefit.
Okay.
UAPs.
UAPs. They can study them, and no one knows because they can't audit it.
Now this
is such a big economy.
This segues very, very nicely into Bob Lazar.
100%.
Now, firstly, I'll tell you why. In terms of when that craft tilted and then went, Bob Lazar said that the craft that he inspected, the gravity drive on it lifted it, but it actually flew sideways.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
It could rotate
So
mid-flight.
to give everybody at home, if you don't know, if you're interested in aliens and UFOs, to be honest with you, you're going to know who Bob Lazar is. But for those who don't, Bob Lazar was a guy that worked in the 80s in a department called S4.
Part of Area 51,
which is part of Area 51. And he claims, came out in 1989, he claims that he worked on the propulsion element of these craft that they'd recovered from aliens, whether they crashed them or these UFOs that had crashed. And he came out very publicly, not initially, but very publicly, and said some more. So it gives you a bit of context anyway.
He came out and he said a few things. And it was such a long time ago, but actually a lot of the things that he said had actually come true.
Yes.
So, he turned around and obviously, like you described, those craft rotated, whatever else. And that's clearly in the video, which is like one bit. He also turned around and said they were powered by an element called element 115, which didn't exist on the periodic table of elements. It was not an element. It didn't exist. And I think it's 2 years ago, Russian scientists have basically created element 115. And it's now been added to the periodic table of elements, which is another tick in the box as something he said. He also turned around and described that when he went into S4, which is part of Area 51. Are you going to talk about
the bone scanner?
The bone scanner, yeah. So he used to say that when you went in, the way they used to identify who it was you put your hand on it, but it wasn't like a fingerprint scanner.
No.
It used to measure the density and length of the bones in your hand, which was pretty unique to each individual person, I would assume, why it exists. And that would let them in. And for years, people are like, no, that doesn't exist, it doesn't happen. 3 or 4 years ago, they used to use those.
They had photographs from a military base,
in military bases in the US. So that's 3 things that he's turned around and said. And he's never changed his story. He's not one of these people that does the whole UFO circuit and goes to like Las Vegas Alien Con and this, that, and the other. It takes, people like forced him for years, and recently he's just made a documentary, isn't he?
Yeah.
But that's the only thing in like 20 years he's ever done.
And he did get raided by the FBI.
Yeah, absolutely. And
during the documentary.
There is evidence.
And the other thing as well is what gets me is, he turns around and says that the whole of his education and where he worked got completely wiped. Yeah. And not to get too much into it, but when he used to work at Los Alamos, and basically he took a guy in there, the security guard let him through because he recognised him.
Yeah.
people said hello to him and he knew his way around the lab, but according to all official records, he doesn't work there, but they did find his name in the telephone book there.
They did. They found his
and
name
there
and his
was a
directory
news
number.
article in a paper that
With him
Los
there,
Alamos
yeah.
Bob Lazar creates rocket car. So there is bits to say that he definitely worked there.
Yeah.
But he has been wiped from everything.
Well, bringing it back round, I mean, that footage that we saw of that UFO, I'm going to call it UFO.
UAP.
I think, yeah, all right.
It's
whatever.
UAP.
UFO.
All right.
Turning around like that, and then that backs up what Bob Lazar drew.
Yes.
Well,
and
what
how
he
they
said,
work.
yeah, what he said. What he said he experienced and what he saw,
Yeah.
that was it.
Antimatter, well, they got antimatter reactors.
Antimatter
They,
reactor.
use,
something like that, yeah.
they kind of distort gravity in some way, and that's how they're propelled.
Absolutely.
It's interesting. It explains how they can manoeuvre the way that those pilots on the all-day were explaining that they manoeuvre.
Yeah.
And what you see, it just ties. It's a different thing, but it just ties in nicely to it.
Yeah,
I
and
think.
I think one of the big points, I'm actually going to deviate somewhat from the subject of aliens.
Deviate away.
I'm going to deviate. But we're talking about disclosure here, okay?
This is aliens and
So
stuff after all.
it is aliens and stuff. So
time for the stuff.
I'm going to get on to the stuff now. But
Excellent.
You look at it and you think, right, so here's a couple examples. So are you familiar with Operation Northwoods?
I've heard of it.
Right.
Tell us more.
1962, the US Department of Defense proposed Operation Northwoods to JFK. Now, what that was a false flag operation against the Cuban government. So what they were going to do is basically commit acts of terror on US citizens and US military to sort of justify a war against Cuba. And it was vetoed ultimately by JFK, said we're not doing that.
Nice guy.
Now, they've also proposed similar false flags, such as Operation Mongoose. There's been multiple different ones. Now, this only became declassified in 1997. So you're looking at a 35-year window. And that's a pretty horrendous proposition. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's blow up our own citizens to ignite a war.
And that's a rabbit hole we're not going to go down on the show right
yeah.
now.
I'm just using it as an example. And I mean, the other one.
No, we're not going to say it. He said it.
I'm just throwing it. Future episode, you never know.
But the other one I was going to talk about is MK Ultra. 1953.
Yeah,
so
interesting
the
stuff,
CIA carried this out for 20 years. So they drugged, hypnotized, tortured, and abused unwilling American and Canadian citizens.
But it's a real thing. It happened. Didn't
It did happen.
It's something that
Well,
actually happened. It's ridiculous.
The Bourne films with Matt Damon, obviously, were based on that.
Yeah, so I mean, you're looking at that was to research the effects of mind control. And after the Watergate scandal, so another cover-up,
Oh, Nixon.
the CIA actually burned and destroyed most of the documentation from MK Ultra in a panic. So when it finally got declassified in 2004, once again decades and decades later, they couldn't even conduct a full investigation. So the reason I'm bringing these two things up, which aren't about aliens, is the only reason they came out and said, yes, these videos are real, is because they were leaked to the press and they were all over the place. You've got things like Operation Northwoods, you've got things like MK Ultra, where they've done heinous acts and then covered it up, and we've only found out about it decades later.
Yeah.
So, when you've got a government that hides things, you've got missing portions of the defence budget, you've got them only revealing information when stuff's leaked, and you've got them changing task force left, right, and Spencer. How
if you pardon the pun.
how can you not question? Are they hiding Black Ops stuff?
Well, they're definitely hiding Black Ops stuff. You look at the SR-71, you look at the B-2 bomber, all of these, and that is like, the B-2 bomber was seen and people reported it as a UFO, this, that, and the other, and that thing existed for 10 years, and then the government was like, yeah, we kept it a secret, it existed, but that was for national security until we needed to use it, so there was a surprise on the enemies, etc. So they do hide stuff, it's proven. It's like, even like the U-2 spy plane, it was kept secret.
And those particular bombers as well, those spy planes, were tested and potentially developed at Area 51.
They were. No, they were. Yeah, the SR-71, all three
That's
of them were.
the big black one that looks like the Batmobile, but in the air.
It's like the quickest thing ever flown by a man. Yeah.
Well, look, we can quote vehicle model numbers all evening.
Yeah, true.
But let's wrap it up,
count on
okay?
that,
Now, I was undecided initially, okay?
Yeah, what do you
and
think, Spence?
I was
Let's sum
hoping that you were going to throw me some information I hadn't heard. But normal, paranormal, or undecided? I actually think it's normal. I think it's a secret Black Ops US.
So,
Tom, go on. Here you go. Give it to us.
I think it's paranormal. I think it's absolute aliens. Because look, let's be real. If you no, let me put this right. If you believe in this in any way, shape, or form, right?
Yeah.
This is the best evidence that you can see, and I don't think, given the age of that video, given the whole Bob Lazar link, and given everything that we've seen and discussed, I think if anything is going to be alien. Even if that is like a man-made version of a captured craft or whatever.
Okay, so
right?
that's what I think it is.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying it's paranormal.
I changed my opinion, it's paranormal.
Because it's definitely based
Right,
on something that's happened.
I'm going to stop because we've gone through this again. Spencer.
Paranormal.
Tom.
Paranormal.
Right, I'm going to give my opinion for the sole reason that I actually believe what Bob Lazar is saying, and I've seen that footage, the way that thing's moving. Both stories go together. I also think it's paranormal.
It's unanimous!
We agree.
It's unanimous.
Why? We've never agreed on anything. So let us know in the comments what you guys think. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter because this is our show. But if you want if you want to give us your opinions, we will reply. We're really interested to hear them, and we'll read some of them out on the next show.
Can I say, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon.
Please do that, guys. Thanks very much for tuning in. We'll be back very soon with episode 3.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.